I think for the past few years, this Howling statue from PCS has been on my annual beginning of the year countdown as one of my top 3 most anticipated statues, and it's finally here. So it's from the movie The Howling, which if you're a follower of the channel, you know is my absolute favorite werewolf movie, which we'll talk about why in a little bit. But we don't really know which werewolf or lichen this is from the movie. We could assume it's the main one, Eddie Quist, but who knows? I just call him Harry. See what I did there? Welcome to another statue review. This time we're looking at the 1/3 scale lichen werewolf Howling statue from PCS. Now, if this looks semi-familiar, it's because I have another Howling statue from PCS that's completely different. I reviewed it a long time ago, and you actually see it in a lot of my scales when I do reviews on videos. And who knows, that might happen today as well. But I'm going to compare both of those statues together. Actually, right after I film this, I'm going to put that on the table, and you can look forward to an Extreme Rumble or an Extrumble comparison video between those two statues. Same character from the same company, we got to do it. But today is going to be all about this one. Son of a bitch, they pulled it off. Don't get me wrong, it's not without its faults, but I was very hesitant because they did fur. I mean, this guy's furry, he's hairy. And that's always a big iffy when you do a statue, but my God, they pulled it off. So a lot of people, Mr. X, there's a lot of great werewolf movies out there, absolutely. Some of my favorites include Dog Soldiers, include Silver Bullet, include The Howling. I like the Underworld series. In fact, I'm going to put this with some other werewolf statues. It's going to be interesting next to this lichen and Marcus from PCS, because those are also 1/3 scale, but if you've seen those before, you know he's probably a lot taller, which we'll do measurements and everything. But the things I really liked about the Howling, number one, I think the way the werewolf looks is amazing. Number two, especially for the 80s, the transformation scene, while it wasn't as good as An American Werewolf in London, it is probably second best in my opinion, especially for that time period. And it really shows how a human could turn into this. And third, I thought the storyline was really, really good. Despite some bad acting by a lot of characters, other than the main heroine, of course, E.T.'s mom, we really saw just a different storyline with werewolves for the time, and I loved it. It was scary, it was freaky, and the last thing I'm going to say about it, because it relates to the statue, a lot of werewolf movies, we don't get to see the werewolf in full light, for a lot of reasons. Sometimes they only come out at silver moons. Did I say silver moons? Full moons. Sometimes they only come out at full moons. A lot of times the werewolf may not look as good with special effects, so they keep it dark. Where we saw this werewolf in daylight. I think the first full reveal of the werewolf, it was we saw lights on him in the office when he had pulled that file from Karen's friend. So with that being said, because of that, we know exactly what the lichen or the werewolf is supposed to look like, and it's here in statue form, and I think they absolutely nailed it. They nailed it. It's fantastically done. Now, there's a few different versions of this statue that have some minor differences. We're going to cover all of that in the review today. And let's start with the concept of this piece. So this isn't from the movie, which I think it would have been neat if they did something from the movie. But what they did is he's outdoors here, which I don't like because it's just a plain mud base. The movie was set in a forest and the woods, and I wish they would have had some greenery. I think that's a little bit of a miss. And you have a rando that he killed. And what's interesting is he's missing the legs. Maybe he ate the legs because they did feed on humans. He's holding the rando's hand in his hand, which we'll talk about it a little bit. And he's standing over him, victorious. Maybe he's growling at another lichen to stay away from his food. Maybe he sees somebody else he's going to go eat. But this stance was very much shown multiple times in the movie, I feel. Like I said, they just really captured this awesome pose. It almost looks like it could have been a direct shot from the movie, and maybe it is, and I'm not thinking about it. But as you move up, he's just prowling there. You see those humanistic features, you see those wolf features, and then, of course, his amazing portrait. And he's roaring, and this particular switch out, I have bloody teeth because he's eating the dude. So it's just a fantastic concept. It would have been 5 out of 5 if they put some greenery and if we actually knew who from the movie it was. But well done. I appreciate it. Thanks, PCS. Design, there's one big flaw, but I understand why it happens. and they did a really, really nice job, but also a few questionable things. And we'll talk about those after the unboxing and assembly. All one box, and shipping was a lot, but it wasn't outrageous, and I thought that it would be one piece. But I was mistaken. As you open it up right here, he is in many, many pieces, which we're directly going to talk about how that correlates to the design. They did an amazing packing job. Everything was really, really protected. All right, we're going to measure this. So it's hard to say, but let's assume this is the front. It's about 21 to 22 inches. And then deep, we got about 19 inches. And the tallest point, if you pat down his hair, is right about 34 inches. They should have exact dimensions on their website. You can definitely check that out. So I have the exclusive version, which comes with a few things. Number one, it comes with this little kit that has a COA, has a brush, and then gloves. I'm not a big COA fan, so that went back in the box. But you have two alternate display options. The first is with the hand. So every single version comes with an open left hand like this, but mine came holding the arm of his victim, so I can switch out either or. Then every single version comes with clean teeth. The exclusive version here, you can switch out for bloody teeth. I think both look good. So one really big questionable thing. This right here comes off the back of the head. I have no idea why it comes off. Look, it's a magnet. It looks like it's meant to come off. And then here's the hole that it covers up. No idea. Like initially I was thinking, well, battery compartment for what? You don't want his eyes to light up. Maybe he roars. No, howls, not roars. No idea what that was about. It's weird because it looks intentional. So what I love about this and hate about it is the fur. So the great thing about the fur is it covers all those seam lines, because as you saw when I assembled him, it's a number of different pieces. You can't see any of those seam lines. And PCS was actually really strategic as they made it. Where those seam lines are, they made the fur extra long so you can cover those up. Same thing with like the hands right here. It goes to almost his mid joints. So really, really smart on that. Unfortunately, he sheds. He's shedding everywhere. It was all over the box. It's below. I understand that's going to happen. Hopefully it's temporary. I kind of like it though because it's all over the place and it's what it would probably be like in real life. Shedding is the number one reason we don't have a dog. That and we're always out of the country. So it's both a blessing and a curse. So with the design, super impressed how it went together. Switch outs are okay. And again, you have to get the exclusive for those. The magnets are incredibly strong. They did a really nice job. I'm giving the design a 4 out of 5 as well. Paint and sculpt's going to be an interesting topic because the majority of the statue, you can't see paint really, and a lot of the sculpt's covered by the fur, and the fur actually accentuates that. Look at me using fancy terminology. So here's some video. So we're going to start with what I would call the most mediocre parts first. First of all, that's the base, not just the character on it, but you know, like I talked about, if they actually had greenery, it could cover this up. I mean, this just looks like shit, and I mean that in the literal sense, not figurative sense. The sides don't look the greatest. I don't even know what it's supposed to be. Would have liked to really see some trees and bark and stuff like that down there along with the greenery. They try to add a moist effect to insinuate mud and paint it a little bit darker. I mean, it does look like it, but just not a fan. This character right here, his eyes look great. But that's about all I can say. Like, look at his intestines coming out. It's not the best. The blood colors don't look very real. There are a few darker, like right there by the ribs. I do like how it's spilling out right here a little bit. That looks a little corny. And then look at his pants. They should add some texture. And what's up with all that? Like, he has rolls in his pants. I'm not sure. Yeah, just a miss on this character on the base, for sure. Apparently he was bald too, which, you know, can happen, but not a fan of this base. And then the other subpar is really the top of his snout. I don't know, something's just off about it. Something's off. I think it needed a little bit of moist effect. You know, we saw the interesting part about the transformation scenes is while they were transforming, there was a lot of, it looked like fluid, and then sometimes you'd see them kind of in this form where it was totally dry. But otherwise, I think he looks great. This fur, you can see it's all over the place like we talked about in design, kind of pros and cons, but it covers up all those seam lines I talked about. You can't even tell. And I love the color of it. I love the flow of it. I think his hands, you know, they had those during the transformation scene, the big one, they really focused on the hands. Those look amazing. I think they did a really nice job. See, that has like kind of the moist effect I think I'd want to see up there. Maybe it's not dark enough. I don't know. I'm trying to picture it. I know I'm jumping around. Too bad. The eyes right there, they're decals. They're okay. The inner mouth could be better. I actually like the other one better. I don't know why. I think this flows with the story of the statue better, so I'll probably switch them out from time to time, actually. There's the very strong magnets on the bottom. Same, you know, the hand he's holding, same comments about what I said below. But feet, very similar to his hands, but they don't have any moisture on them, which is kind of weird because, like, they gave this moist effect on the base. It almost looks like a glistening effect on the hands, but dry feet. So a little inconsistency on that, but they do look good. Let me swing him around back here. He's going to be a bitch to move, I'll tell you that now. If you want to see what he looks like with the other werewolves, check out social media. There's a link in the description below. But yeah, that's a great angle as well. I know it's weird to think about likeness when you have a creature like this, but I think they nailed the likeness for the movie. So, pros and cons. All right, as I said, you know, for me, a big part of the sculpt is how movie accurate is it. Not just, you know, muscles or the portrait, but the shape. And I think it's really, really done well. I think it's a 4 out of 5. I'm pretty happy with it. I think the fur actually covers up a lot of sin that would have been there, but maybe it was intentional for that. Paint, mainly because of the character blow and the base, we're giving it a 3 out of 5. I'm tempted to go a little bit lower, but I don't know. Maybe I'm dick riding the statue a little too much. Now, with all this fur came a very hefty price tag. So this is a huge statue. It's bigger than most 1/3 statues, probably similar in size to some of those Predator statues I see over there, but it's also similar in price. But they made 450 of these. 150 have the switch outs I talked about. 300 just have the clean teeth, and then it's not holding the arm with the left hand. 2,800 was the original retail. I think if you do the early bird, because I PO'd this right away, I think I got it for 2,600. They do an early bird PO on all their pieces if you buy directly from them, in order to, you know, help people buy and make sure they can make enough. Because on a side note, I bought another werewolf from them. It was William from Underworld, and apparently it was canceled, but nobody told me. I asked a few times in their social media group. I think some other collectors finally told me it was canceled. So that's unfortunate. That one was going to have sculpted hair, though. But yeah, I think this is overpriced. You know, the Howling has a cult following, but horror has a smaller niche anyway, and Howling's even smaller in that. By the way, I watched Howling 2 and Howling 3, and they were so fucking god-awful. Like, they were so bad. I have 4. They're all on Prime right now, Amazon Prime. And it was painful to get through those, which is just crazy. I think there's a 5 and a 6, too. I don't know. So I think the value is a 2 out of 5. Especially with such a big box, I'm not going to be able to resell this. They're still available on websites. And it's a fairly small edition size. The Platinum's still available. So I think it's due to that hefty price tag. So I think the value is really not there. But is this a 5 out of 5 statue overall? Does it have the X factor? Sure. Some things can be improved on the base, even with the snout like we talked about a little bit in paint and sculpt. I love this though, and part of it is my love for the property. To me, this is a 5 out of 5. If you wanted to capture a Howling statue, it's going to be hard to beat this one in my opinion. And like I said, they did some good stuff with the design too. So now I got to get that big ass box out of the way because tomorrow 3 more statues arrive. None from PCS, all XM Studios. So stay tuned for that. But in the meantime, we're really close to 40,000 subs if you haven't seen that. As soon as we get there, we're giving away 3 $1,000+ statues. And to win those, you just comment. Check it out. Thank you so much for tuning in. I really appreciate it. Yes, we're still giving away $1,000 statues at every 5,000 subscriber milestone. You have to make sure you're subbed to the channel, you like the video, and then leave a comment. We're going to pick a random comment on a random video and give away those statues. In the meantime, check out some of these other videos and my social media. Talk to you soon. Take care.